All right, what's going on, y'alls? What is going on? We got we got a surprise live here. I was like, it's a Friday afternoon. I was looking over the analytics for the year, and honestly, I just wanted to hop on here and just give you guys a big thank you. I know a lot of the viewers, subscribers will probably see this later since it's kind of at an off time. But it is just crazy to think that I started this a year ago. It was right when Star Shatter had come out over Christmas break and Grotmas and all that good stuff. And I was I was doing the battle reports at the time, just for my friends and in our team circle, and they were giving me the nudge, like, dude, this is just so well done. This is just such good content. Like, the world needs to see this, more or less, is what they what they kept saying. And so here we are, man. I mean, I kind of owe it to them, and I owe it to you guys. But I mean, just to think that we got 7,000 of you already, and I mean, 500,000 views. It's just like, it's crazy. And seriously, the support from all you warlords out there and the member channel, can't thank you guys enough also for the support. It's just crazy, man, the way the world works these days, where it's like, I would already hop on and be nerding out with you guys anyway, talking about Necrons and everything else. But getting the support from you guys as well, it's just great. So wanted to hop on here and just pay it forward. So, drop your questions in the chat. I won't be here for a long time, but I'll be here for a good time. So please drop your questions if you got them. As a thank you, you can even send me a link via a pastebin. Just please make sure it's not a virus. I'd appreciate it. And maybe I can go over maybe a list live or something like that. But man, I am surprised in the poll right now, guys. What's going on here? Curse, Legion, and Pantheon of Woe. No Shatter, no Awakened. What's going on here? I don't know if what's going on here with that. So Slipped 7248. What's going on? Hello. And Guton V10. What's up? What's going on, man? Appreciate your support, Warlord. Quick update. I mentioned in one of your other live streams, I was playing my first GT. That was last weekend. Even though I went 1-4, I had an absolute blast and learned a lot. Dude, let's go. Dude, also, that was your first GT, man. I mean, can we just get an applause for you, man, honestly, of just showing up, playing some games. Like you said, you learned a ton, and you know what maybe not to do next time. But the best part of this hobby is getting out, meeting people, playing some great games. It's it's a community. Even though it's a competitive game, it's more of a community game, and I think that's the best part. So I'm glad you learned a lot. You probably, I think the best part about a GT is you're playing people that are usually outside of your circle. So you get exposed to a lot of different types of armies, different people, different play styles, and also probably learning how to play at a faster pace. I wouldn't be surprised if the clock was maybe an enemy of yours a couple of those games, but you learn. You just learn more over time. It's the best part. So I'm glad you're in here. Glad you're in here hanging out. For those of you who recently just joined, obviously just doing a thank you stream really quick. And just to thank you all for the support. So, yeah, dude, you got the one win though. That was your goal, man. That was your goal. What was your one win? What did you play against her? What did you find was the most difficult matchup for you in that GT? And then we'll break it down. Maybe give some insight. So feel free, for the people that are in here. Drop a question if you got it. What are you excited about? What are you running this weekend? All things Necron, you guys. I played in Nova. It's an absolute shark tank there. There are people from Goonhammer, Art of War, and apparently Team USA. Dude, hey, I mean, that sounds like the neck of the woods that I'm in, man. I mean, got a lot of high caliber players in this area, and definitely owe it to them. Where I would not be nearly as good if I didn't have access to that type of talent and being able to play those types of players. It's what really can get you very good at this game quickly, and a lot of the top players talk about that. Being able to network and getting connected in other circles and just being a fun opponent, and it helps you get those games against better players to help improve your games. So that's awesome. But man, I am. I'll tell you, Cursed. I really want to get back to playing some Cursed Legion. It is a good time. I've been prepping for a big team tournament here coming up. So I haven't been able to get as many Cursed Legion reps as I would have liked, but definitely those battle reports are coming soon for sure. One win was against Blade of Ultramar. The hardest matchup for me was against Tau, and I was playing Star Shatter. Yeah, no, that the one win against Blade of Ultramar, dude, that's big time, man. Especially if you're playing Star Shatter. Were they running? I mean, obviously they're running some Vitrix, right? How many Vitrix were they running? And Tau, don't beat yourself up over Tau. Tau's a tricky matchup because, especially when you're playing Star Shatter, just for a couple different reasons. One is they're kind of playing a similar game as us, where they have these super durable units downfield, that being Riptides, and we have they have their 3 Riptides, we have 3 DDAs, and we're playing this 4-up invul game. And bang-a-rangin', yo, thanks for the membership, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here, hanging out. Drop a question below if you got it. I'm just going through the chat, hanging out with y'all a little bit. Not here for a long time, but a good time. But going back to Tau, yeah, it's a tricky one just because, in general, Tau, they just have more stuff that they can just throw onto objectives that are high OC, which Star Shatter definitely does not like. It's already kind of struggling in the points department. It has no problem doing damage. But the thing is with Tau is, depending on the detachment, they're going to have a decent amount of stuff. They could play that trade game a little bit better than Star Shatter, and the Riptides are just so good into DDAs. You're just kind of playing this 4-up invul game back and forth. So it's definitely not the easiest matchup. So don't beat yourself up over it. But let's see. I heard recently on Art of War that playing stat check armies can blunt your future 40k growth. Do you think that's the case with Pantheon of Woe? Yes, I absolutely agree with that statement. I think just in general, when you are now, how do I phrase this? So it's interesting with Necrons because, unfortunately, just Necrons in general just kind of automatically fall into this trap. And that's why they're a relatively popular army, because I think the theme is just cool, right? I think the second thing is that they are one of the easier armies to play because they just rely on durability, right? So you don't get punished as hard when you're putting these durable units somewhere, you mismove them, where they're on a firing line, because there's a lot of times where maybe that unit just doesn't die. Versus, if you're playing something a little bit more not as durable, which is pretty much anything else in the meta, right? Maybe outside of Knights or something like that, but Necrons in general, they kind of fall into the stat check type lists, unfortunately, and we've seen that a lot for the entirety of 10th edition. I think that's what makes Cursed Legion, I think, very interesting and fun for people coming into the hobby, or people that have been playing Necrons for quite a while, is because it is a very different play style, and it doesn't lean into that stat check type approach. So I very much do agree with that sentiment that, guys, you play Pantheon of Woe, yes, it's strong. There are some, micro tactic type stuff that, a higher level player will position. But for the most part, yeah, you're just, Kool-Aid man, unga bunga stuff forward, and just, that's the game. I mean, there's There's no other way to sugarcoat it. So it's one of those things where when you're in that one type of play style for so long and you don't experience other parts of the game, it really does kind of pinhole you into this kind of one strategy. And I think that's what makes 40K so dynamic and so fun, is that there are so many different play styles, right? Now, I will say within Necrons, they do lean in general into a stat check, but because we have so many data sheets and so many detachments, there are a lot of ways to play Necrons that if you really don't want to play that stat check style, you don't have to. Especially now with Cursed Legion, where you kind of have a more of a melee type pressure list where you don't have to lean into like spamming race or warriors or Catan, right? So it's very exciting right now. I mean, it would be doing ourselves a disservice to say that Pantheon is probably going to get touched by something fairly soon. Maybe the meta will adapt a little bit. But I think, unfortunately, for kind of like your average player, they're playing a couple tournaments a year, that sort of thing. I feel like it just in general, it's just a feels bad, right? Because it's just, man, it's just a crazy stat check. It's just, yeah, like good high level players are gonna know what to do with it, and it'll be interesting to see when more stats and information comes out how maybe it levels out. But as of right now, it's not looking too good. It's not looking too good. Let's see here. John Smith would love to try out Pantheon of Woe, or at least the Deceiver, the Nightbringer, in Awakened Dynasty or Star Shatter Arsenal. I feel like people only don't complain about Catan when they're so expensive they're no longer good. Yes and no. It's tough to say. What I really hope is, I think Pantheon of Woe probably needs like some sort of like detachment tweak. I would rather they tweak the detachment first and maybe do like a little bit of a points increase on the Catan, like across the board, and see where they sit at that point. But rather than not changing Pantheon and just doing like a massive points hike on all the Catan, and seeing what that does as far as balance. But I think like the initial numbers and everything that's been coming out, it's looking a little strong. It's looking a little too strong. Let's see, Slipped. Yeah, they basically overwhelmed me. I couldn't get out of my deployment zone. Yeah, were you playing Slipped? Were you playing against Munkop by chance? He probably went first, maybe. Sounds pretty accurate. Watch your tier list the other day. What detachments do you think is best if I included all the tournament staples? My personal opinion. Okay, if we, let's see, how do I phrase this? Okay, so if you are like I would say even at a high level player, Pantheon of Woe is probably still our strongest detachment right now. Outside of that, Awaken and Star Shatter are 1A and 1B. I think it just depends on how you like to play, and I think both of those detachments are stronger against certain armies and weak against others. So there's not one detachment that I think just plays the entire field fantastic. But that is yet to be seen. I mean, it's still early. I'm really just, I mean, Hypercrypt is great and everything. I'm still not sold on it. I think it's cool, but I don't really see it being like a top tournament contender over the next 3 months. Cursed Legion is playing pretty strong right now as well, but I think it's also just because people don't fully understand in the tournament scene like how it works yet, because it does have a pretty tricky mechanic, like Wrath of the Rock and with Spectacle of Spite that came out with Drukhari, where they kind of have that out of turn charge move, which is a little bit more interesting to play around rather than like a Blood Surge. So I think once people kind of understand Cursed Legion more and how it works, I could see their win rate going down. It's not a bad detachment. I think it's just really going to struggle into hole spam, which I think people dealing with Catan right now is what you kind of see them leaning into. But I don't know. We'll see. But that's what my gut tells me. I personally think Awaken, Star Shatter are probably the strongest, and then followed by Pantheon of Woe. But we'll see. We'll see. Daza0187, yo, appreciate your Warlord support, man. Do you think Nightbringer or Deceiver will eventually get nerfed? I predominantly play Chaos Demons, and the Catan rules seem crazy to comparable greater demon in points. Yeah, I mean, it's it's pretty wild, man. It is pretty wild right now. The data sheets aren't going to get nerfed. It's just going to be a points thing. So, I mean, I could realistically see like all the Catan across the board going up like 30 points, you know, at some point. I mean, who knows? I mean, do they wait until March or April to do this? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, all signs right now, it's not looking good. Where I don't know how much longer we'll be playing them at these points costs, but we shall see. Is this the most exciting meta we've seen in 10th for Krons? Maybe. I mean, honestly, though, I would say probably at the start of 10th. I mean, even though Eldari was like absolutely crazy, when you could attach Crypto Thralls to Lichguard and it gave the Lichguard a 4-up Feel No Pain and all like the full kit. I mean, you guys know, like at the start of 10th, like everybody was running Lichguard, and it was like, it was a crazy stat check. And then they shored that in. Like it was actually like I think that era of Necrons was even more not okay than maybe what we're experiencing right now. But it was it's pretty close, man. It's hard to say, but this is definitely a good time for the Necrons for sure. John Smith agreed. Small price increase on Catan, more on Nightbringer. An increase on mandatory enhancement costs will help. Yeah, I think they'd probably do something like that. Like they just increase the I mean, the strats are fine. I think that's probably what they do is they just increase the points across the board on the Catan and then like a little bit of an increase on the enhancements. So then it nets out to, you know, like a 200 point-ish increase on Pantheon. And then they can bring like one less Catan, more or less, I think is what that means. Or just like less stuff. And I think they would be in a better place probably, but we'll have to see. Dr. DK5048. Once the meta adapts to killing Catan, POW's probably not going to be as oppressive. It's tough to say because the issue is that so the problem when stuff like this happens is when people are designing lists, it's like you do have to understand, you're like, okay, Necrons are going to be popular and Catan are going to be popular. And there's a high chance I'm at least going to run into one Necron player in my 5 games or 6 games or 8 games if it's like a super major at a GT. But the problem is like, what are you playing those other 7 games? So it's like if you skew too hard or if you add too much anti-tank into your list and then you run into, you know, like a Tyranid Gaunt spam or, you know, Orcs or something like that, and you're like, oh man, like this, I do not have the right profiles for this, and then you just get run over because you're too teched for Catan. So I think that's where it gets like really tricky in these type of situations because it's like too much of a stat check where people can't really build these. Like in general Warhammer, you want it to be like rock paper scissors, right? Like there should always be like good and bad matchups, and that's what makes it interesting, and I think that's what makes it exciting for a lot of people. But it feels bad when you have to just skew so hard in one direction to answer this one thing, but then if you run into something else, then it's just like it feels bad. And I think even still, like your average player and just is just not going to be able to like handle it. It's just like an immediate threat overload, and it's just not the best play experience. But you know, here we are. So Let's see. Jake, Denny. Also for the 20 of you that are in the stream here, seriously appreciate you. Drop your questions below. I'm just hanging out here for a little bit. Just wanted to thank you all for the support over this last year and getting to 500,000 views and all the warlords as well. Just seriously appreciate you. So, yeah, just hanging out, talking Necrons, and yeah. Let's see. No option for Phalanx. Phalanx is crazy fun right now. That Amatar is a thing. Crit 5 ceiling with +1 a wound is hilarious. Look, I like Phalanx too, but YouTube, it's only giving me 4 options. I only got 4 options. So, but I hear you. Phalanx is awesome. I need, I need to get a T-Volt, guys. I need to do it. I need to do it. Like -1 damage on the T-Volt is just so addicting. And yeah, with Emitar now, I mean, granted, you can't give the sus on the Tesseract Vault, but still sustain on the King. It's like so good, man. Just so good. Yo, JBW. Hey, man. Appreciate the support. Welcome to Warlord. And thanks, man. Got a lot of good content coming. I'm going to have a Star Shatter build coming out that's going to be public. Probably this weekend or like early part of next week. And then I will be doing a deployment and turn breakdown in the Warlord channel. So if that's something that interests you guys, definitely check it out. It's where I'll go through and talk to you about like the play pattern and deployment, why things are going in specific areas of the board, going over different layouts, all that good stuff. So if that's something that interests you, check it out. Check it out. But let's see here. So to try to drop a paste him, I think. Oh, interesting. I'm not sure. That might be just setting. I might have to change later. I do apologize about that. But yeah, I think right now, I mean, I'm very excited to see like how a lot of the lists do this weekend. I mean, there's a lot of big tournaments going on, so we're going to get like a lot more data as far as like what is doing well, certain types of lists. But I think what scares people the most is that, I mean, Necrons really do have a lot of different builds right now, like a lot of good builds. Like even our little Only Crons group and us talking back and forth, there's a lot of good stuff that we've been experimenting with and testing. And so, you know, it's an exciting time to be a Necron player. I mean, not gonna sugarcoat it. I think even if the Catan go up in points, I mean, we're gonna be just fine. I mean, I hope they don't, but you know, no, we will still be in a good spot. We got a lot of options right now, which is really cool. So we no longer have to run the Silent King and 3 DDAs all the time. It's great. Hi and congrats. Also want to ask you about the Deceiver. After watching your recent tier list, have found him to be the most punishable and least threatening, and worry I am missing some use/strat. You found him to be the most punishable and least threatening. Well, Miss, what I would say, it maybe depends on who you're going into or what type of armies. You know, I mean, if you're going against an army that's just like flat 4 Binvols, like Custodes or Knights or something like that, like, yeah, he's not going to feel great because you don't really have, or like Death Guard or something like that, right? Where you're -1 to hit, they're super tough, so you're hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, and that could just be swingy. You don't have a lot of attacks. But there is no doubt that the Deceiver is our best Catan. All right, like point blank. Yeah, he's just there's just so many use cases where he is just so good. He's just so good. So, I know it's probably boring for people, but do you think Star Shatter with 2 Catan with Silent King and a 6-man race is probably the list to go with? Well, Michael Allen. It's funny you mention that because I don't know if you've been inside my brain or something, but that is more or less the list that I wrote that's coming up here later this weekend or next week. So I would think that is a very good list outside of a few more pieces, but that foundation I think is very strong. So Daza0187, Do you really need a big centerpiece model, Silent King Catan, with really good MSU options like Flayed Ones, Tomb Blades, Ophidians, etc.? Can you not try just winning by scoring points? You can. The only problem is that you have to do damage. So if you don't have anything in your list that's doing damage, you're not getting units off the table. And then your opponent just looks at your army and they're like, well, you have all these scoring units, but you don't have anything that's like threatening from keeping me from just running at you, right? So that's where those big centerpieces come in, like the Silent King, Catan, DDAs, right? Where your opponent's like, well, if I do get close, I'm going to lose this unit. I don't really want that. So that's why you kind of, when you're doing a list design, you generally want, usually anywhere from like 150 to 300 points of your list in scoring. So like Flayed Ones, Ophidians, Tomb Blades, that sort of thing. And then, you usually want like 1,500 points dedicated to like primary and damage. When I say primary, like things that are standing on points, holding objectives, that sort of thing, and then damage. And then the last, 100 points or so is for like home field, what's holding your home field, like a hex mark, Imhotech, death marks, all sorts of stuff, right? So stuff like that. But yeah, I wonder, for the 24 of you that are here, I'm low-key wondering, like, should I just flip over to, should I just give you guys like an early secret preview that's not secret because it's live, but like of my Star Shatter list? But even though I'm going to make like a video on it later and just explain like what it does and everything else, I could do that. Y'all let me know. I could do it. Yeah, Grey Knights, I will say, Grey Knights aren't like, I don't want to say they're in the worst spot in the world, but I don't know. Grey Knights are still good. I think as a whole and as a community, like we've understood, definitely with the 3-inch deep strike going to 6 was a big thing. And then I think as well, up-down armies just in general aren't as good going first. And this game is already like very second turn. Well, I don't want to say very second turn favored, but it does feel that way for most missions, unfortunately. So I always talk about, when you're designing lists, like make sure that you are excited about going first. That's, I think the biggest thing. So, let's see here. Yeah, you have Dread Knights, man. You have Dread Knights. You have Psy Cannons. Although, I will say, Grey Knights and a Necrons, boy, is that a rough matchup now, man. I feel bad single-handedly because of freaking Necrosaur, dude. It's just, yeah, just so good. Okay, you guys think I should do the list? Okay, is there play with Necrosaur and Star Shatter? He seems like he'd do some crazy stuff. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. You know what? I'm just gonna do it. We got 26 of you in here. Let's end on a high note. Let's end on a good note. I'm gonna give you guys an early preview of the Star Shatter build I'm gonna be dropping. So this is actually very impromptu, so I'm gonna have to make sure that this works correctly. So bear with me for a second. Let's see, where is this? Okay, I think then we can do this. My camera might go a little weird here for a second because I need to make it smaller. There we go. Okay. All right, let me move this around here really quick, and then we will flip this over. I've been peer pressured, but I love talking about Warhammer. All right, so and we'll go over the Star Shatter list. So I'm gonna make a separate video on this, but Sure that works okay. There we go. Actually, let me put this here. And we're going to take off the music because I need you guys to hear our whole voice here. Okay. So let's go over this Star Shatter list. But I'm going to make it a video on this. But because you guys are here, you're getting special treatment. Now, I'm going to go over the list. And then I'm going to be going over a like deployment and tactics video in the Warlord channel. So for you members, be looking out for that, where I'm going to break down exactly how I deploy this army, what you're going to be needed doing first and second turn, and why they're positioned the way they are, and things to look out for. More or less like play pattern, okay? And the theory behind it. But essentially, if you guys have been like an OG, how much back in the day when I would do these list breakdowns like a year ago, I would break them up into 3 categories. Okay. So when I'm designing lists, there is home field anchor. So those are the units that are, again, just like holding down your home field. So those could be death marks. Those could be Imhotech. That could be Hexmark, pick your flavor. We got a lot of different options. All right. The next part of the list is your anti-tank or your damage. Okay, so these are the things that are going to be going out. They are responsible for maybe holding primary, but for the most part, these are the things that are looking to get damage going, getting other units off the table. Okay, so, and then our last is our mission play primary denial, which as it is, like these are the things that are going to be sitting on the objectives. That could be your warriors, that could be your race, and your mission play. So, your classic units, flayed ones, Humeblades, Phidians, all that good stuff. Okay. So the biggest thing when I'm designing a list, and always like trying to ingrain like in your guys' head, is, especially right now, is you want to design a list where you are excited to go first. Okay. And what I mean by that is like you have the ability to usually get 2 durable resources on your natural expansion and the midfield objective turn 1. And the reason for that is especially in Star Shatter, is you need to force an overcommitment or for your opponent to respond in a meaningful way so that your Nightbringer, Silent King, those type of things can start playing the game. Because if you go first and, you're putting just flayed ones on the objective, or, Stalker, they're just kind of like, cool, man, I can auto-see you, or I'll just shoot these flayed ones off. It's not very, like, meaningful. It doesn't really force, like, that response that we're looking for, okay? So when I was designing this list, I think with Star Shatter right now, it's very interesting because it's definitely still the detachment that can do the most damage. And I think with Necrosaur, it really brings Star Shatter to another level, especially with the race. Okay. So, and I'm going to go more in detail on this in the member channel, but the death marks in the middle of the game are going to, starting with your death marks up here, are going to be the unit that is going to be your home field or your anchor. Okay. So initially they're not that. They're actually going to be in Deep Strike. But as the game progresses and how this list wants to function, they will drop in and then hold your home field or be your back screen for the rest of the game. Okay. You have your anti-tank. First up is Necrosaur. He is a massive synergy in Star Shatter because he unlocks your anti-tank, that being Deceiver, Nightbringer, Silent King, to have sustained if it's the closest eligible target, which is extremely powerful. I mean, Silent King's gun melee has already been good, but now when you're saying, hey, it's reroll ones to hit and wound, you're +1 to hit if you're on an objective, and you get sus1. Very strong. Very, very strong when positioned correctly. And he also fixes the problem in Star Shatter with Melee Rush, where we initially had a problem with, Melee Rush armies just kind of, going forward, they're like, hey, we know you really can't handle this, and it was a big problem for Star Shatter. But now with Catan, they really shore up that problem because now we have units outside of Race and like a Stalker that can actually get on our midfield objectives turn one, which is huge. It's like a huge problem solver that Necrons were dealing with. So now having the complement of the Deceiver, which again, he's like our best Catan. He's -1 to hit. He's amazing. And then you have the Nightbringer backing him up, and with the Silent King. Okay. Now the next thing that I'm most excited about is the Race. Now we've all known Race, right? You run your 6-unit of Race. You have your Tomb Crawlers because they're 10 less points, and then you have your Technomancer. But the really good synergy with this is the fact that if you really think about it, Necrosaur's ability, it's harder to get online with DDAs because it has to be the closest eligible target. And I was looking at trying to have units that are going to synergize with Necrosaur the best. And in general, that is usually melee units because Necrosaur his value is being on the front line. And what are other units that are also going to be on the front line? It's going to be Catan, it's going to be the Silent King, and it's going to be Race. Potentially even the Stalker as well, right? I mean, really all of these units, as you see here, it's kind of like a melee Star Shatter in a way. I mean, it's still got guns. I mean, you still have, the shooting from the Deceiver, the Nightbringer, and the Catan, the Silent King. But it's just a different way to play Star Shatter, which I think is really interesting. So now with the Race, they're +1 to hit. They're reroll 1s to hit and wound because they're going to be next to the King, and they're going to be sustained 1. So now the Race that naturally hit on 4s are essentially now with those buffs are close to 100% hit rate, and that's not even including their pistols, right? So you have your Race. They could do flyover mortals, right? On average, they're going to hand something 4 mortal wounds. And then now with these buffs up, I mean, their pistols could realistically do another 2 to 4 dev wounds because you're getting +1 to hit usually. You're getting reroll 1s to hit and wound, and you're getting sustained. So they're really interesting now with Star Shatter and Necrosaur as a 1A, 1-2 punch. Stalker is amazing. Enough said. He's 110 points. You give him -1 damage. Obviously, the only enhancement I'm running is -1 damage on the Technomancer. No other enhancements. And the Stalker and the Deceiver kind of essentially hold hands and live together. And then you have the Reanimator that's going to be next to the King and the Race. And then you have your 3 classic scoring units. Your Ophidians, your Tomb Blades, and your Flayed Ones. And I think this list comes out to 2,000 on the nose. And it's just a great list. Like if you're somewhat of a newer player, you're coming back to Necron, something like that, and you want to shoot stuff up, you want just a good balanced list that's fairly straightforward to play, and it's fun, I would run this. It is, I think this is a great list or a great starting point. You could absolutely run DDAs. I'm not saying DDAs are bad in Star Shatter. They're fantastic. I think I'm just coming from a standpoint that I've been playing 3 DDAs in the King so much that I just didn't want to play 3 DDAs. And I'd rather just play the Catan. And I think, honestly, this might actually be better than running DDAs, genuinely. Because the biggest thing with DDAs as well is, again, it's a casino cannon. Sure, you can spend a CP on a reroll, but it's hard to know exactly what type of output you're going to get versus with these units, specifically in Catan, you already know how many attacks you're going to have, right? So you can kind of do the numbers in your head a lot quicker and get more accurate, consistent results. So, but yeah, this is essentially the list, and I'm going to do another video on it later and then have more like theory around it and showing you exactly how it works in the member channel. Probably next week is that will go up. So, so you are parking Race, Necrosaur, and Silent King in the middle. Who holds natural? So natural actually is going to be the Stalker and the Deceiver. and potentially the flayed ones. And there's a really gross combo and positioning thing that I'm gonna show you guys. And yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's good. I love Star Shatter now with Emitar and Locust Heavies with a Lord. The output having sus lethal crit 5 and Star Shatter is really solid. But yeah, no, I mean it's good. Hey man, if it's working, don't fix it. You know, if it's working, don't fix it. So, yo, 36 of you in here. Seriously, appreciate you hanging out. Appreciate you watching. I just want to do a thank you screen for those new you that joined. Just reaching 500,000 views this year, and I just really do appreciate your guys' support. And it's just unreal. I mean, I remember this time last year, it was like December when I started doing those battle reports, and things were just getting a lot of traction. And you guys were like, dude, this is freaking awesome. We want more of this stuff. And it was stuff I was doing anyways, you know, and that's where I always want it to be. Like, I never want this to feel like a job or anything like that. So I try to respect those boundaries. I know a lot of you have asked about doing like a Discord and that sort of thing, but I think it goes back to, it's a, you know, I love you guys, but it's another thing that I got to manage and, you know, all that stuff. So I really like where it's at, where, you know, I can connect with you guys once a week or twice a week and nerd out over Necron stuff and just give you guys some good high value videos has always been the goal. So I'm gonna be on here for just like a couple more minutes. So if you got your last questions, give them to me now. Give them to me now. I'm gonna flip this back here as long as I don't break anything. But yeah, give me your last questions here. And then I gotta go because it's Friday. It's Friday night, y'all. Friday night. You guys got any good Friday night plans? Anything going down? You got a tournament this weekend? Like that. That back over. Cool. Let's see here. Yeah, looking forward to nerding out over the intricacies. Yeah, get ready. It's happening. It's happening. Next week we'll have it up. I promise. Suspect Grizzlies and a Crute Heavy Tau would stand out, Michael, but would be very interesting to hear about. Yeah. Every faction needs a Scary type faction specialist. Hey, you know, yeah, I'll tell you right now, I ain't no Scary, but you know, I do know some stuff about Warhammer. I actually got to meet Scary this past summer at the Tacoma Open, which was really cool. So I got to talk with him a little bit and nerd out over some Warhammer. So great guy, great ambassador for the hobby, and you know, just spreading the love out there, spreading the love. So if I could have one thing in 11th, I want no random roll attacks. Just give me 4 shots on my DDS. Yeah, I mean, I do hope they simplify some things. It's tough to say what they're going to do. I hope they do. I don't know. I mean, I think the biggest thing is I hope a lot of the changes in 11th edition result in getting the playtime down. Like if we could get the playtime down to like 2.5 hours, like that would be great. But maybe that's wishful thinking. Jordy, does Pantheon need a CP battery? I like the idea of holding home with Geomancer to do a low unit count to screen. I think Pantheon does. The problem, in Pantheon of Woe, I would run an Imotech. And I think the main reason for that is because you need to cycle cards because you just don't have a lot of units. So you don't really want to be using your units to cleanse and recover and sabotage and all that good stuff. So Imotech gives you the flexibility to cycle those cards to keep your points up. So I think he's very valuable in Pantheon, sure. In Awaken, if Oricon is killed via precision, if you resurrect him with the 1 CP strat, does he get it? Yes, he does get reattached to the unit originally leading the Warriors. He doesn't separate. So it was FAQ'd. You could find it in the GW app. I don't know exactly where that is, but he does reattach to the unit. Thoughts on Warriors with Destroyer Overlord and Oricon and the -1 hit strat for free. The extra strength plus the stars, right? Thoughts on Warriors with Destroyer Overlord and Oricon and the -1 to strat. Oh, and Cursed. Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't see why not, man. Just go Super Saiyan and cursed. It would be great because doesn't he would go up to strength 18 because he'd be strength 6 and then triple the strength. So then you go up to strength 18. New tech, guys. New tech. I would also say check out Oricon and Star Shatter. There's another build that I was working on with 20 warriors. Is kind of interesting because, again, if you're running Necrosaur, Oricon would be +1 to hit, rerolling 1s to hit and wound, and sustained with his super ability and Star Shatter. Seems pretty good to me. Seems pretty good to me. Like what's crazy? Like one thing I was thinking about, because if you run, like let's say you run like the Warriors 200 points, Oricon's like 80, you got like the Royal Ward in there, so it's like a 300 point unit. I mean, if they kill most of the Warriors, like Oricon by himself might make his points back, whatever is like in front of them, right? Because it's just he's like guaranteed to do like 10 dev wounds to something, right? Which is pretty crazy. Yeah, I really want to get Warriors to work. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, there was a video I did with Warriors. This was probably like early in the year if you could find it, or go on my channel and just search like Warriors. And I do kind of like a master class of like the positioning and like how to use them. But yeah, Warriors are really strong. I'm not gonna lie. So you guys might be seeing some content on that pretty soon, but keeping that under wraps for right now. So, but yeah, I think the Warriors are pretty good right now. So, yeah, you can't run I mean, you could. I'm not saying like you could run Warriors and Race like in Awaken. It's not going to be bad. I think you do just run one or the other. I think overall I like the Wraith synergy with Star Shatter better than I like the Warriors. But I think Warriors and Star Shatter could also be very strong, for sure, for a different reason. I think it just kind of depends on your matchup. So, and your playstyle. Like, some people just don't like playing units of 20. Like, I totally get that. It's a lot more complicated. And if you like just having kind of smaller units and less stuff on the table, there's nothing wrong with that, you know? So, but, anywho's, yo, the third of you that hung out in here, seriously appreciate you. Scar Caro is going to be the last question, and then I got to dip out of here because it's Friday night. Y'all have some fun. All that good stuff. But Curse Legion MSU, a build option. Thinking running solo Scorp Lords and MSU Scorps and a 6-brick Ophidians. I think it could work. I think the thing is I think you gotta run the Lich Guard or you gotta run the Race. You could still do MSU. You just don't run like the King or like any Catan or anything like that, right? To free up your points. But yeah, I entirely think it could be a good list. 6-brick of Ophidian seems kind of like too expensive. I love the 2 bricks of 3 in Cursed. Feels really good. You know, a 6-brick isn't bad, but I would rather just have 2 units of 3 personally. So, but hey, anyways, y'all, seriously appreciate you watching. If you stuck around this long. And again, really do appreciate all the support. Thank you guys so much. And here's to just making 2026 another great year and a great year of content for y'all. And as always, we will catch you in the next one. Have a good night, y'all.